I want us to understand the man Mboya, with special emphasis on his death. And I'll try as much as possible to comment on issues that are not generally in public view. Very few people know what I'm going to say. Majority will be hearing it for the first time. I'll start with Mboya when Jomo Kenyatta was in jail. Mboya is among the few African leaders who went to visit Jomo Kenyatta in jail. The purpose of the visiting Jomo Kenyatta was as follows. Openly, he was to be seen to be supporting Kenyatta. Openly, he would want to be seen to be saying that Kenyatta is healthy and is strong and he can come and rule the country. But all of them, including Mboya, wanted to use that opportunity to advance their political future. He wanted to gain political bonga points by being close to Kenyatta. And also, when Kenyatta's death came, he wanted to inherit Kenyatta's bloc. When Kenya attained independence, very few people know that the flag of Kenya has three components. One, it had the Kadu element. Two, it had the Kanu element. So 1 and 2, the two leading political parties. 3, it had a lot of Luo symbolism. You will find that when a Luo comes of age, a man that is, his father shows him a place to stay, his father gives him a shield, and his father gives him a jogo to slaughter so that he starts a new house and in his own a new living. Those are reflected in the national flag. So the influence of the two Luo, Jaramogi and Mboya, was there, in that they had that Luo symbolism on the flag. After Kenyatta became the president, he was old and sickly and whatever, and people suspected him that he would die anytime. And among the people who were placing themselves strategically so as to take over from him was one Mboya. And just like today, many politicians do fight about political positions and whatever, being ready to take over from the current president. They prepare themselves to take over from the current president, and you'll find them fighting over and again. So the president himself would also try to make them fight among themselves. One of the examples I can give is when Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga were fighting for number 2. Kibaki was comfortable with that because he knew that Kalonzo was keeping Raila busy. If Kalonzo went down and left Raila to rule or claim number 2, Raila would start disturbing Kibaki. So Kibaki was comfortable with the two fighting. And Jomo Kenyatta also was comfortable when his ministers were fighting each other. So he would side with this side, side with that, keeping them busy. The law, most of us do not know that there was a law which was placed there where Kenyans, if you want to become the president, you must be 35 years and above. This was deliberately placed there to block Thomas Joseph Mboya from contesting the presidency. To hit back, Thomas Joseph Mboya now came up because in all organizations, the leader, when he dies and whatever, the deputy is usually the one who takes over. So Thomas came up with the provincial vice presidents of the party, so that Jaramogi does not take it. The vice presidents struggle among themselves, and they are unable to decide whom was to take over from the president. They would quarrel that way, they would quarrel that way, they would quarrel, and then the Secretary General takes over. That is the same thing that was applied by Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi when he brought in Raila on issues of KANU and NDP joining together. It was done deliberately that KANU had to have 4 vice chairmen. That was Uhuru Kenyatta, Ronald Ngala's son. We had from Western, we had Mudavadi, and so on. So the plan was 4 vice chairmen in the case of Moi, and Raila becomes the Secretary General. And during Kenyatta's time, it was to have 8 provincial vice presidents, and Tom Mboya as the Secretary General was to take over should Kenyatta die. But then they came up with the 35 years rule as a mode of stopping him. They tried to stop him, and when he was about to be 35 years, that is the time when Limuru had this conference, and it was felt that fighting 2 Luos at the same time would be catastrophic. So they decided that they give him time. And when they gave him time, Tom Mboya died when he was 38 or 39 years. That is when they started planning for making it 40. But they felt that making it at 40, by the time the law is over and whatever, Tom Mboya would be already past 40. So they were planning to place it at 45, because they knew that by 45, Kenyatta would be dead and Tom Mboya couldn't take it. And that is when Tom Mboya now planned to take an action. Keep watching for the second part of the Tom Mboya issue to know how the whole plan started and ended at the time when Tom Mboya was shot, fatally shot.